This is the third and final video for Chapter 5's information. First slide here is going to talk about consumer behavior in regards to culture, ethnicity, and consumer behavior. Culture is just simply the set of beliefs, ways of doing things within a group of people. Okay, it's just attitudes, beliefs, how you handle situations, what you do, and like I said, what you believe as well. Now, we've mentioned that if you go internationally with your business, you have to be very careful about different cultures, different ethnic groups and beliefs, and that you don't do anything that is misconstrued, insulting, degrading, even translations of words are not taken out of context or inappropriately as well. So you have to be very careful when you're going cross-cultural with your products and your advertising. Stereotypes are just that generic belief that a lot of people fit into a category, and you got to be very careful about that as well. You know, not all people of a certain ethnic group are the same way. Not certain people of a certain heritage are the same way. You have to just be very careful not to group people into those stereotypes. Firms that conduct businesses internationally must have specific strategies to keep in mind the different cultures across all the different borders and countries all around the world. You have to be very specific and deliberate about making sure that your product is meeting the needs and the wants of the people in that particular area. McDonald's around the world, if you have McDonald's companies all around the world, you have to just understand that different cultures have different beliefs about what they eat, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and that you don't do anything to insult their beliefs, religious beliefs, cultural beliefs, customs, or whatever they are. All right, individuals that are affected by the purchase situation. What we're looking at here is the reason that you're buying something could vary. You know, it could be out of an absolute necessity. It could be out of, it's just something that you happen to want at the time. It could be an impulse buy. Depending upon what you're buying, the reason behind it is going to vary. The time that is available for the purchase also affects what happens, how quickly you have to buy something, how much time you have to do any kind of research on the product, asking people about it, looking up reviews and responses from people. So the time available has a direct impact as well. The less time you have, the more stress that is put on you to buy something quickly, and you can't necessarily make a very well-informed decision all the time. The physical surroundings of the purchase affects the buying, as do the emotional responses that they elicit or they encourage as well. Okay, so physical surroundings, where you're at, if you're standing in line and you're at a grocery store and you're hungry, chances are you're going to spend more money at the grocery store when you're hungry, and then you'll also buy the things that are in line, like the candy bars or the gum or the Tic Tacs or even the magazines, and that's what they're there for. All right, this is an expanded model of consumer behavior. This is on pages 137 to 139, I believe. The consumer decision process begins when a consumer becomes aware of an unmet need or want. Right, and that's when the process begins. And then you focus on how are you going to best meet that need or that want. Right? And consumers may use extensive problem solving. It's very possible that they use this extensive problem solving so that when they put a lot of effort into deciding how to satisfy this need or this want, things are going to be more likely to be met. Problem solving continuum, which will be on the next page, is going to consist of what's called routinized response behavior, limited problem solving, and extensive problem solving. And we'll talk about those more in depth on the next slide. Excuse me. Now, as you're looking at this continuum, in extensive problem solving, a consumer attempts to satisfy a completely new or very important need. They have to get a lot of information. They have to try to make themselves as knowledgeable as possible. The consumer probably has little to no experience on the subject, and they need to learn a lot about it. The purchases often are referred to as high involvement purchases because you have to spend the time trying to gather as much information, to look at alternatives, to find the best value for what it is that you're buying. In limited problem solving, this is when you as a consumer are willing to put forth some effort, but maybe you're just going with a newer version, a newer update of a product. So you already have some previous experience with it, so you don't have to do a whole lot of research, but you want to learn a little bit about what changes might have been made to the product. And in routinized response behavior, this is when it's more of a habit to solve a certain problem. These purchases are very low involvement. They don't have very high importance. They usually don't spend a whole lot of money on them as well. This consumer problem solving process, though, you have to understand, does not always lead to a purchase. You can decide after doing your research that it's not something that you want, it's not something that you need, and that's successful as well, because then you're not spending money on something that you really don't need. All right, this is just an example of a print advertisement that deals with that. You don't really need to know a whole lot about DHC skincare. So for that sake, I'm just going to go to the next slide. Okay, the after-purchase experience. This is where the term dissonance comes into effect. Sometimes buyers have second thoughts about their choice, wonder if they actually made the right choice. That may have happened to you. I know it has happened to me in the past. And that then results in a tension kind of in your gut, which is what's called dissonance. Dissonance is that tension, a feeling of uncertainty. Did you make the right choice in your purchase? Sometimes customers get disappointed when the product itself fails to live up to your expectations. You may regret making a purchase for whatever reason. It really doesn't matter, but if you have any kind of regret, that can add to it as well. And then some people talk about their purchases and share their opinions with other people. They spread the word about it, whether positive or negative, good or bad. And marketers have to always remember that customer is more likely to talk about a bad experience rather than a good one. So you want to make sure that they are very happy with their purchase and don't have that post-purchase regret. The adoption process. All right, this is how we go through this. In the awareness stage, this is when you as a potential customer first learn about a product, that it actually exists. You never heard of it before, you don't know anything about it, and you learn a little bit about it, but you don't have a whole lot of detail. Then you go on to the interest stage, and if this stage is reached, that's when you start gathering more information and facts about a problem. You might be made aware of a problem in the first step, not be interested in it at all, and then decide that you don't really want to get more information about it, and it might stop at that very first step, at the awareness step. All right, but if you do want to learn more and get some more details about it, then you move on to that interest step. In evaluation, this is when you as a consumer, the book refers to this as giving the product a mental try, kind of applying it to your situation in your mind to see whether or not this is something that would be beneficial or useful to you. Trial is when you actually buy the product and experiment it. Trial could be maybe like a free trial. Sometimes when you buy a product, you have a 30-day period that you're able to return it as well. So you could always consider that like a trial period, and to see whether or not this is something that you like and you want to keep, you want to accept it, or you want to reject it. And then you move on to the decision. This is when you either decide to continually use it, you like it, you're satisfied with it, or you reject the product and don't consider it. Again, sometimes this can actually if you reject the product, it could have a negative impact as well on the company as a whole. So you have to understand from a company's perspective that every product you make could have an impact on other products that you're selling. After decision, then there's the confirmation, and this is when you as a consumer, continually rethink the decision, search for further support that it was correct, make sure that you did make the right choice, and continue on with it at that point. Remember, dissonance may set in after decision. It's that tension or that gut feeling that you're just not certain that you made the right choice. All right, this is the end of Chapter 5. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or bring them to class.